Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 24th of January 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma, Bhagwan residing in the heart of every being, in the Atma of every being. With that prarthana, we are continuing to examine the connection between Shakti, that is Mahamaya, and Brahman, or the absolute consciousness. This is a most fascinating intellectual exercise, and it is also very practical in our lives at the same time. By the grace of Bhagwan Shankar and the great Mahamaya Devi, by their tremendous krupa, we have the opportunity to examine these ideas on a daily basis. So, to continue a bit from yesterday, as I had mentioned at the closing of yesterday, that there are 7 bija mantras, right? They are Om, Aim, Rim, Klim, Shrim, Kram, Krim. These were extracted by the guidance of several gurus in my life to try to present this to the world community in the most straightforward, simple way, of course under guidance, because anytime a Bij mantra is chanted, there should be some guidance, particularly in the initial stages, by someone who knows about this and can monitor the experience that is happening. But as I mentioned before, the Namah Shivaya mantra, Aim Bij mantra, is very good. Anybody can do that. And it's good to do it because Aim Bij mantra is Mahasaraswati Bij mantra. I would strongly recommend doing that before doing any of these other mantras. And in fact, in reality, no other mantra is even necessary. In terms of Shakti mantra mein keval Aim Bij mantra is enough for a whole lifetime. It has everything. There's nothing missing in that. In fact, all 6 of those Bij mantras have everything. And in fact, the Omkar is the Brahman, actually. You can think of it this way. The Omkar is Akshara Brahma. The Upanishad is saying so, as we have been looking at the Mandukya. And many Upanishads will say that. The whole Sanatana Dharma is aware of that. The Om meditation is if you are interested in just the ultimate reality. Bas kuch nahi chahiye. Purna vairagya, purna jnana, purna ananda. Just like Shiva sitting in dhyan. Na aage na piche. Not bothered with anything. Just completely in dhyan, samadhi mein. Aur samadhi mein hi jana hai. Jagat hai, jagat nahi hai. Iske saath kuch lena dena nahi hai. That kind of sadhana is only the Om sadhana. And that is not possible for almost everybody in this world. So that is why these 6 Bij mantras, and out of those that Aim Bij mantra, absolutely beautiful. See, doing Om sadhana by itself is something that can produce intense vairagya. One has to be aware of that fact. To some extent, it is perfectly fine. But if someone is doing like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day for long periods of time, you will not care about anything. You'll find a way to survive somehow. At the higher levels, even if the body survives or not, you will not care about that. Because you have seen the Brahman. Once you get a glimpse, when the bhakta or sadhak get a glimpse of the infinite, this whole world becomes meaningless. Iska koi arth hi nahi rehta. Aisa ho sakta hai. It has happened to rishis in the past. Even today there are some. But for most of us, that is not advisable and that is not possible also. We'll not get to that point. So what we need is to really appreciate the beauty, glory, and existence of Shakti. This is the beauty of the Kashmiri Shaivism. Kashmiri Shaivism, jisko kehte hain non-dual Shaiva Tantra, it is called. And in my humble opinion, again, Sachin's only perspective on this, I think there is a tremendous similarity with Vishishtadvaita, with the qualified non-dualism. But it's not exactly the same. There are some differences in the philosophical outlook, but both accept the reality of the world. Advaita Vedanta, in its purest sense, doesn't accept the reality of the world. The world hai hi nahi, ek illusion hai. It is ek abhas. It is a superimposition. It's not, doesn't have any existence. Or, ajatavad, unborn, like Gaudapadacharya. It is ushme kuch hai hi nahi. It's like the reflection in the mirror. You're standing in front of the mirror. Is there anything there? Not really. But there is something real because that is there. Because of the real, there is the reflection. So Advaita is more about, really just about consciousness, not so much about Prakriti or the play of Prakriti. No, not so much. It's about just getting out of that. It's not even getting out. It's realizing that it's not there. Or it's just a Brahman ka kuch power. Shankaracharya ji says it somehow it's there, it's not there. Don't bother with it. Just find a way out of it. Even Swami Sarvapriyananda ji, he has explained this beautifully in, from Advaita point of view, that don't bother with the question of Maya too much, because you'll never find any solution to that. Stay with the reality. With the Brahman. This is the Advaita now. In Advaita Vedanta, this is how it is talked about. Find the reality, discover the reality, and the question why Maya exists disappears. It disappears because that question is a wrong question. Advaitic masters will say, wow, if you ask why Maya exists, you are asking that from Maya, from ignorance, through your buddhi. The question itself is faulty. This is what they say, although the many other acharyas would not agree with that. We won't get to that right now. But this was in Vivekananda Swami's life, this was there. You may have seen that video on YouTube, right? Vivekananda Swami was asked by one of his disciples, Maharaj, aap bataiye ke Maya kya hai? He said, ask something else. Don't ask this question. You can ask what is Brahman, ask what is God, all that. I'll explain. Don't ask what is Maya. Ask something else. And it is there's really no answer to that question, because the answer is not a verbal answer. The mystery of Mahamaya, it is something which nobody can understand. Nobody can ever even explain that, actually. Yep, no doubt Gita and Vachanamrut and all, they all say that, that it is the power of Bhagavan Krishna and all that. But you can raise 1,000 objections to that. Why God has to create this thing? Why doesn't he? There's a question in Vachanamrut mein bhi ek prashna hai aisa. Purushottam Bhatt na prashna. This Vachanamrut Garada Madhya 64. एक भक्त थे श्री जी महाराज के, स्वामीनारायण भगवान के एक भक्त थे, पुरुषोत्तम भट्ट. Bhatt is the name, actually. He asked this question in Garuda Madhya 64. Why God has to create all these universes? Just take everybody into the Aksharadham, sabko mukti de, give everybody mukti. God can do everything. Bhagwan kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum, anant prakar ki shakti hai Bhagwan ke. What is the point of creating all this thing? You see? So this is to really understand the answers given in Advaita and in Bhagavad Gita, by Ramanuj, by Shriji Maharaj. This is not something that we can do within half an hour. This takes this takes hours. I would even say thousands of hours to unpack this. But in short, we can say this much, that logically, God, meaning God, see, again, this is a Western word we're using. This is not the word that is used in this Sanatana Dharma. This word God is a Western Judeo-Christian word. You see? So we try to apply that word here. There is similarity, but there's not exactly the same translation in that. This word Bhagavan doesn't actually mean God the way it is described. I mean, in some sense, it is interpreted that way. The better translation for God is Narayan or Swami or Parmeshwar or Parmeshwari. This is not the word Bhagavan, by the way. The word, to translate the word Bhagavan into God is totally wrong, because that's not what the word Bhagavan means. Bhagavan means one who has the 6 opulences. Bhaga, the 6 bhagas. Van means one who has them. That is called Bhagavan. That is the actual Sanskrit definition. But then the word is used in the monotheistic sense, even in Sanatana Dharma, and there's a lot of confusion about that. So like in Jainism, when somebody realizes the Atma, that person is called Bhagavan. But that meaning of that word Bhagwan is not the way the Vaishnavas use that word. The same word is used in so many different ways, by so many different paths. The same word itself. In the Bhagavad Gita, it doesn't say Sri Krishna Uvacha. It says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Abhi iska kya meaning hai? There's a lot of controversy about this thing even. You'll be amazed that they say that Krishna didn't actually speak the Gita. There's another tattva beyond Krishna that is speaking, that is the original Paramatma speaking through Vedvyas, and Vedvyas ji has put Krishna as a character inside the Mahabharata because Krishna Bhagwan never actually wrote anything. All kinds of controversy. You will be amazed at things that are out there, right? But leaving that aside, that's a different point, different thing altogether. What is useful for us is the reality of life and also the pathway towards higher realization. But these intellectual controversies are endless. There's no end to it. I mean, there are millions of scholarly articles and books, and these things are endlessly debated, and it goes on. It will continue to go on. But out of all of that, what do we want? What is it that we're looking for? You see, so the notion of Brahman and Shakti, very practical, very easy to understand also. Shakti is energy. I mean, everybody understands what is energy, but energy by itself is taking multiple forms. How beautiful, how amazing. For example, let's talk about that a little bit today. For example, the archetype of Devi, again, this word archetype is a Carl Jung's word. It resonates deeply with internal processes, providing powerful models for self-empowerment and transformation. I'll explain this in just a second. The fierce aspect of Durga, for example, offers a framework for overcoming internal oppression and confronting life's adversities with courage and determination. See, Durga Devi is holding all those weapons, right? But those weapons are mantras, actually. That's what they are. So the Durga Saptashati, which has 700 mantras, it has the entire structure of Prakriti inside there. Durga Saptashati. Chandi Path, jisko kehte hain. What does it cover? It covers everything. There is nothing in there that is not covered. That every type of experience that is available in our life, at our layer, within our layer of reality, is covered in what sense that we can gain that experience to its highest level and at the same time be liberated from the binding power of that experience. This is why jo Devi ki upasana hai, sometimes it is called Maya Sabalit Brahma in the Gujarati language. I don't know if that is a Hindi. Sabalit means with. Maya plus Brahman combined together. This is the amazing thing about Devi upasana. And this is only in Devi upasana and not in any of the other upasanas. That you get the experience that the Jivatma is looking for because she's the Divine Mother. She says, okay, you're my child. Think of it this way, mother-child relationship. You know how it is like, right? When you have a small child, the child is crying and shouting and screaming and all that kind of crazy stuff is going on. And this mother eventually, she has nothing but selfless love. Okay, you really want that? I'll give it to you. You know, it happens in parents. Those who are parents know more about than I do about this thing. You know, aapko malum hai how it is with children. At some point, you just say, I'm just going to give you. I cannot see you cry anymore. तो ऐसी ही सिचुएशन है भक्त और भगवान के साथ, you know, and particularly in the Shakti upasana, इसमें तो बहुत ही ऐसा है that once you start asking the Devi for something, she cannot resist that at some point. She will say that, no, you're doing the sadhana, I'm your mother, I'll give you. You really want that? Okay, I'll give it to you. And that is where the trouble begins, because kaisa trouble hota hai? Because the sadhak is not prepared. He doesn't know what to ask. That's the problem. And she's the Divine Mother. She's going to give it to you for sure. You do the sadhana and you keep asking and keep, it's called petition in this Christianity. It's called petitioning, Bahut mantra sadhana, bhajan, bhakti. I want this. You have this. You want certain thing to happen. And she said, you want that? You want that? Okay, well, when the punyam is enough, when the time comes, she sees the whole page, because that is the karma phal pradata. Bhagwan kya hai? Bhagwan to ek hi hai. Wo karma ke phal dete hai. That's true. It is done through Mahamaya or as Mahamaya. So she sees what the child is wanting. And every jivatma, how many jivatmas are there? Again, back to Vishishtadvaita. Infinite number. Ananta koti jivatma hai. Ananta koti. We cannot imagine. Buddhi mein nahi basic. It will not sit in our mind even this concept. And so she knows that divine feminine power. She knows you want these things. So when you start doing mantra sadhana, particularly Bij mantra sadhana, then the situations change. And it changes in an extraordinary way to give the jivatma the experience the jivatma is wanting. But if you continue the sadhana, she will give the intelligence that of the boundary of the experience and liberate the jivatma from that experience. That is the most extraordinary thing. My God, how is that even possible? Yeah, amazing Leela hai. How that is possible? That the Divine Mother, she gives the bhakta what he's looking for, and then she liberates from that experience. I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody wants to, let's just use the political example. We won't use any names. Somebody wants to become a big politician, have a lot of power and control over, millions and millions of people, make big decisions, etc. Like that. Anywhere in the world, doesn't matter. Sadhana, there's some sadhana done in any religion, doesn't matter. But sadhana is done wanting that. And there is punyam accumulated, and you want that experience. So there is a process behind it. So when the time comes, the Devi says, okay, you're my child. You wanted that, I have to give it to you. So she gives it to you. And it doesn't matter. And this is the extraordinary thing about Devi Upasana. It could be anything. Satvik, Rajsik, Tamsik, anything. Abhi ye kaisa? Where's the ethics? It's beyond ethics and morality. There's no ethics and morality in this. The Asuras are doing tapasya. This is in the Puranic literature. Bhagwan Shankar, they're worshipping Shivji and Mahadevji and Devi. And she gives them the boon. And sometimes it is a Rajsik boon. Sometimes it is a Sattvic boon. Sometimes it's a Tamsik. It depends on what the devotee is wanting. When you do tapasya and sadhana, iska phal, it is called phalam. It's a P-H-A, phal. And so a fruit is generated by the bhakti and sadhana because it is sakam bhakti. So the Devi knows, she knows you want that thing. The situation in this life, next life, at some point will come about so that you can experience that. But the thing here, the sadhak has to continue the sadhana further. So, and then eventually a point comes, the Devi says, okay, she shows the boundary. Iska itna hi limit hai. Vachanamrut mein this point is written beautiful. Ke vishayanu sukh ketlu she. Ek simit. It is a limited, you can see the limited nature of that particular experience. It could be any experience in Prakriti. All experiences in Prakriti have their limit. And she gives the wisdom that this is limited, go into the Brahman. This is why Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, Brahma Shakti Abhed. Studying, Sachin's humble request to everybody, study Ramakrishna Paramahansa's Kathamrut, Ramakrishna Kathamrut, the gospel of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Extraordinary, unparalleled. And this is what you find in this gospel. They use the word gospel because of the Christian language. The Swami Nikhilanandaji, who was the translator of the Bengali, from the Bengali to the English, he put the Christian language inside there. That's why. because he was speaking to a Christian audience. That's the reason why that is translated that way. The Gospel of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. How amazing it is. Okay, let's stop here for now. We'll continue tomorrow. There's no end to all this. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Bhame Yasya Sita Radha Shrisha Yasya Asti Vakshasi Vrindavana Viharam Tam Sri Krishnam Rudi Chinte. Om Nijatmanam Brahmarupam Dehatraya Vilakshanam Vibhavitena Kartavya Bhakti Krishna Se Sarvada Om Trambakamishamay Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarkamiva Bandhanan Mrityar Mukshyamamritat Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanyatrambake Gauri Narayani Namosute Om Divilingaya Nama Urdhvalingaya Nama Anandalingaya Nama Dwadash Jyotirlingaya Namo Namaha Om Suryaya Namaha Chandraya Namaha Kalakantakataya Namaha Om Navachakrangaya Namaha Namo Namaha Om Brahmacharine Namaha Om Namah Shivaya Om Durge Durge Rakshini Tha Tha Swaha Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu Om Rim Swaha